They were told not to open the fifth box. But curiosity isn't harmless, it's a curse that grows teeth. They should have left it sealed. It all began on a stifling summer night, August 1st, 2025, inside the dimly lit FedEx freight warehouse on the outskirts of Phoenix, Arizona, where the night shift 5 weary workers used to scanning, lifting and cracking. Jokes to kill, the silence were assigned an unusual delivery from an unknown sender. 5 ancient wooden crates, with no barcodes, no paperwork, and no return address. Each crate was heavy, dark-stained, bound by rusted chains, and reeked of wet soil and something rotting beneath. The kind of scent that doesn't leave your clothes or your skin. The foreman, Manny, thought it was a prank or maybe some antique dealer's mistake. So after logging it as unknown hold, he and the crew, Serena, Jamal, and Leo, decided to open them just for kicks, while the cameras conveniently glitched out. Something that happened too often in this part of the warehouse. The first crate held nothing but hundreds of dead birds, perfectly stacked beaks to tail, as if arranged by hand. The second was filled with hundreds of small porcelain dolls with cracked faces, all staring up, their painted eyes bleeding red streaks. The third contained old VHS tapes labeled "Forgive Us," with a date June 6, 1976, written in dried blood across the reels. The fourth was empty. At least, that's what they thought, until Jamal leaned in and saw the inside was actually lined with human fingernails. Tens of thousands of them, embedded like wallpaper, curling and yellow, scratching when no one touched them. Laughs turned into our knees, but then came the fifth box, the one. None of them wanted to touch it first, because it was different. Unlike the others, it had no hinges, no chains. It was sealed with hundreds of human teeth, each tooth hammered in like nails, some still fresh with blackened gums. Something about it repulsed the group on a primal level. Even Serena, who used to work mortuary transport, stepped back. But Manny, too proud to admit, fear, pried one tooth off with a crowbar. They all heard it, a low, guttural breath from inside the box. Then, one by one, the teeth began to fall off on their own, clattering across the concrete like dice. The crate popped open by itself, not with a bang, but with a wet cyan. The lights in the warehouse flickered, then dimmed into a red haze. Inside the fifth box was a mirror, smeared with soot, and carved into the glass was a single word: remember. When Jamal looked into it, his reflection blinked with someone else's eyes. He screamed and dropped dead, bleeding from the mouth as his own teeth began falling out like broken candy. Serena backed away in terror, but her voice was no longer hers. It was a high-pitched child's voice chanting in reverse. Manny and Leo tried to call 911, but the call kept repeating a woman sobbing. One by one, they each saw themselves in the mirror, but distorted, older, deformed, melting, with worms for eyes and missing limbs. The warehouse filled with the smell of iron and earth, and shadows began dripping from the ceiling. Formless things with jagged mouths and long fingers, whispering prayers in a dead language. The building's temperature dropped below freezing, their breath now visible, even as their skin steamed. Leo ran, made it to the entrance, but the door was no longer connected to anything, just black void behind it, as if the warehouse had shifted realities. Surveillance cameras later showed Leo vanish mid-step, pixelating into static. Manny smashed the mirror with a wrench, but instead of breaking, the wrench bent, and his reflection stepped out grinning with broken, blood-slicked teeth, dragging Manny into the glass like quicksand. By dawn, only Serena remained curled up in the loading dock, blind and muttering coordinates in Latin. Authorities found the warehouse empty, crates gone, footage corrupted, and the entire night shift listed as unresolved missing. But on August 2nd, at 3:33 a.m., every FedEx distribution hub in Arizona received a delivery manifest for 5 crates, marked "Return to Sender," with a handwritten note: "You opened the 5th, now you are the 6th." That night, another team disappeared, and somewhere, deep inside the darkness of Arizona's industrial zone, the 5th box is being sealed again, not with teeth, but with new names.